Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today's video I am going to be talking all about my first trimester experience. I definitely feel like I got the short end of the stick on a few things and I missed out on some of the really bad things. So there's a lot to touch on. I'm gonna be talking about nausea and vomiting and bleeding. So if any of that grosses you out, I recommend you go ahead and exit on my channel now. Or if you are someone who also experienced these things or you just need some reassurance, definitely just keep watching because I'm going to talk about all of those things. And of course, at the end, I will go ahead and show you my little bump as well. But let's go ahead and get started. I figured the easiest way for me to do this was week by week. I wrote down kind of how I was feeling and what went on that week. I figured that would just be a really easy way for me to remember because 13 weeks is surprisingly like a really long time to go through constant, kind of bad things. So that's what I did. I went ahead and wrote down everything week by week. I will say I am in the start of my second trimester. So I'm in the 4th month. I'm still learning like all of the pregnancy lingo because you're not like 4 months pregnant, you're in the 4th month, and then the trimesters aren't like exactly 3 months each. So it's just, I'm doing my best. That's where I'm at though, in case you were wondering. So we'll start with before I even tested. It actually was really sad because also if you hear me like gasping throughout the video, I am out of breath all the time and that's what I need to do to breathe, so I apologize. I found out that I was pregnant the day after Mother's Day. If you are new here, I did actually experience a loss in February. I was 6 weeks pregnant. I will leave that video linked down below if you would like to watch it. That was really hard and we did share the news with all of our families. So when Mother's Day came around, that was just like kind of a hard day for me and not the best, especially because my husband's 2 older sisters both have kids, so babies, like they're newly moms, and so that was just like really kind of hard to be around, like wanting that so bad. But the very next day I tested. I was 10 DPO, which is 10 days past ovulation, and I got a positive pregnancy test. So it was like bittersweet. There was a happy surprise after a sad day. And some of the things that gave it away for me, I had eye twitching, which sounds stupid, but I had that with my pregnancy in February too, before I tested. And it's the only time that I've ever experienced eye twitching. So when I was experiencing that, I definitely was feeling a little hopeful, but like didn't want to be like, oh, I for sure know that this is what this is. Also, my dog is trying to look out the window right now, so I apologize. I also just had like random body aches, vivid dreams, and I woke up really, really early every morning. Like 4 o'clock in the morning, I was completely rested and like ready to start my day. It was not a good time, but those were things that were just different. So they kind of gave it away. So moving on into week 4, I actually ended up finding out that I had COVID 2 days after finding out that I was pregnant, which sucked, especially after the miscarriage. I was like, okay, well, this is going to cause another one, and it just really stressed me out. I had COVID in February of 2020 as well, so this was my second time getting it, and it actually, I mean, this is a completely different variant, obviously it's been a couple years, but it was so much less intense than the first time I had it. The first time I had it, I was out for like 2 weeks, miserable, ended up having to go to the hospital. It was like really terrible. And this time I was sick for like 3.5 days, 4 days, and then I was completely fine. So that ended up being kind of like a nice surprise. I mean, it sucked that I had COVID, but it is what it is, and I was able to get through it really fast. I also noticed that my skin was clearing up, like my acne, and my boobs were really, really sore. Week 5, I had light nausea that started at 5 weeks, 2 days, and it really hit me when I first puked at 5 weeks and 6 days. So puking is definitely something that I was very, very afraid of, finding out that I was pregnant. I am not a puker. The last time that I had puked was literally in my childhood, like early childhood, 7, 8 years old. And so I was very, very scared, and everyone kind of assured me, like, you know, not everyone throws up, not everyone throws up. I threw up. I'm still throwing up. So I will say I got used to it, but at first it was like traumatizing. I didn't know how to puke. Like, I couldn't catch my breath. I didn't get it in the toilet every time. I didn't know the signals every time, but like now I'm good. I know how to puke. That sounds so stupid and like so sad, but I mean, it's just part of the gig, honestly. Like, I can't control it. So yes, that was my first time puking. I had a food aversion at the grocery store to meat. I usually do the grocery shopping by myself, so it was just another trip, me going to the grocery store, and I was like gagging going down the cold aisles with the meat and like pork and all that. Like, oh, and I came home and I remember, I feel bad, but I said to my husband, I was like, I know this isn't your fault, but I'm so mad at you for me going to the grocery store. And so he took on the grocery trips for the remainder of the first trimester, because, oh, like to this moment, I can just vividly recall the disgust in my soul. It was so bad. And with that came smell sensitivity, including our fridge and our dogs. Don't really care about the fridge. Like, I just hold my breath to this day when I go into the fridge, but it was really sad. I like could not be around our dogs for probably a couple weeks, and it made me so sad, but they just smelled so bad. And I gave them baths and it didn't matter because they were just dogs, and oh, I couldn't do it. Week 6, I puked again at 6 weeks and 3 days. I wrote nauseous at all times. And then this is when I had my first experience with bleeding. So if you are someone who experienced bleeding, or you're currently going through it and you're just like searching to find any like support, it's not always a bad thing. Unfortunately, spotting is common in the first trimester. I went to a music festival with one of my best friends where I was standing for 12 hours, and it was like a 2-mile walk there and a 2-mile walk back. So I was, what, 6.5 weeks, and I definitely overdid myself. Again, early in pregnancy, you don't know really what your limits are, but the next morning after the concert, so we were still in the hotel room. I actually didn't tell her this, so if she's watching this, surprise, sad surprise. I woke up to pee at the hotel, and I was spotting. It was dark, but that's how my miscarriage started. So I immediately texted my husband, and I was like, you know, I don't know what I did. I don't know if I moved too much or too hard, but like, I think that this might be another miscarriage. And I was super, super nervous. So I'm gonna pause here and just kind of talk about this in and of itself. So the spotting continued. Let me see when I wrote it ended. So the spotting finally stopped at 8 weeks and 3 days. So it started at 6 weeks and 5 days and ended at 8 weeks and 3 days. So it's about 2 weeks. It was consistent every single time I went to the bathroom. It got a little pink at one point, which really freaked me out. It was never red. It was either like brown, pink, or like a combination of that. But my miscarriage didn't get bright red until the day I actually miscarried. So every day was me just like holding my breath and praying when I would look at the toilet paper that it was like either gone or not bright red. And it was such a like shitty time, honestly, because we wanted to wait to tell family this time until our first ultrasound and we heard a heartbeat and everything. So just dealing with that on my own, assuming it was going to be another miscarriage, was just like its own kind of hell, and it really, really sucked. And if you're going through that, it sucks. And as much as, you know, you read online that it's not always a bad thing, it doesn't feel like that in the moment. In the moment, it feels like everything's crumbling around you and you have zero control over your body or your life. And that's totally normal to feel. I am still pregnant, and it just stopped on its own. I didn't have a subchorionic hematoma or anything. I think that I just really irritated my cervix that day. Since that day, I've been taking it a lot easier, and just trying to realize that like I'm pregnant, I can't live my life exactly the same way and run all over the world all the time. So yes, I'm here to say that it is not always a bad thing, even though that really doesn't help. But moving on to week 7, I wrote so sick, puked again at 7 weeks and 4 days, spending most of my days in bed. I napped 3 times in 1 day this week. I remember that. I was so tired. Peeing twice in the middle of the night, still can't stand the sight or smell or anything of raw meat. I didn't eat meat for like 2 months at all. Week 8, the spotting finally stopped, like I said. 7 weeks and 3 days to 8 weeks and 3 days, I wrote was the worst of my nausea. And nausea moved more towards the nighttime, so it was really just the evenings and the middle of the night. Like I remember puking. I'd wake up at like 2 or 3 in the morning and just like have to vomit, like uncontrollable. I just open my eyes and I have to puke. And it was always stomach acid, which sucked because like puking up food isn't really that bad. It's just like uncomfortable, but puking up stomach acid burns and hurts and like you can't breathe, and it's just so not a good time. Still peeing in the middle of the night. Food aversions week 5 through still going on. Hate the smell of our fridge and our master bath. Oh, this is when acid reflux started. At 8 weeks and 6 days, acid reflux so bad, had to sleep sitting up in bed and woke up frequently. Burping and baby barfing all day from the reflux. Boobs are so sore and nipples are so tender, and insatiable thirst. So week 8 was like my biggest list of symptoms. That week really sucked for me. Week 9, I wrote I'm now down 8 pounds from my starting pregnancy, just from all my food aversions and puking. I had lost 8 pounds. I'm actually still down 4 pounds currently, so I've gained 4 pounds back, but still down 4. Acid reflux, nausea pretty much gone, so tired, still taking a nap a day. Week 10, 3:30 a.m., puked again, nausea back all day. I had a migraine one day. Nipples are so sensitive, holy hell, in all caps. Still having days like that, like it's just, it feels like someone's like blowing on them when they're really cold or really wet, and it's like not enjoyable, and that's just you sitting there, so that sucks. Week 11, not having to eat in the middle of the night every single night now, it's just half the time. Nausea is now just at nighttime instead of all day again. Can't drink carbonated drinks or fried foods because of the acid reflux. 11 weeks and 6 days, felt like I was back to week 7, one of the worst days. I puked again. And then week 12 weeks and 1 day, I puked right before bed, which really sucked. Week 12 has actually been really good. I slept through the night almost every night, and I've woken up with a lot more energy than I have this entire first trimester. I will say I did puke again today, and it was first thing in the morning. So I'm just, honestly, I just hope it doesn't last through the whole pregnancy. Like I'm hoping that it's just gonna be like a couple more weeks type of thing, but we'll see. I'm really excited to be in the second trimester now and just kind of start growing. I definitely have a little baby bump, which is so exciting. And yeah, I mean, the anatomy scan is in like 5 or 6 weeks, and I'm just like really excited for this pregnancy. So if you're not subscribed already, make sure you are, so you can stay up to date with all my videos that I have coming out and my past videos. And also give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you've had any experience with bleeding or puking or any of the things I've talked about, please comment down below. We can share our experiences together. That is what this platform is for, and I would love to hear what you guys are going through. I'll go ahead and stand up now and show you my little baby bump. So this is what I am looking like at 13 weeks. Little side view. It's nothing much, but I definitely have a little bump starting here. And from the front, Super exciting. All right, you guys, that's all that I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next one.